Before we start, we all know there's no shortcuts when it comes to photography. And we all know that being consistent is an absolute necessary in order to be perceived as professional, trustworthy, and it's especially important when we look at things like clothing photography, because it's imperative that we have a consistent style so that people know that there is quite literally that is what they're going to receive. It builds trust and authority. However, before you switch off, okay, I want to kind of dig deep on what being consistent actually means, okay? Because I can sit here and I can say you need to be consistent, but that doesn't really help you on the long term situation. For those that you new here, hi, I'm Robyn from Robyn O'Brien Photography and Robyn's Academy, and I'm here to help you take decent photos. So let's get on with it. What I would say to you is that realistically, you need to have a consistent background. If you know that you're always going to have shots X, Y, and Z, okay, that's fine. Then the X, Y, and Z should always have those same backgrounds, okay? So if you're always going to have a traditional white background, keep it a traditional white background. If you're always going to have a lifestyle shot that's out in the in the elements or in the situation, the action shot, then do that, okay? Don't get dismissed down onto the notion of needing a little bit of this and a little bit of that. So, background, be consistent. Have a simple note that says, we always do this shot this way. Done. Aspect ratio, quite literally, what ratio are you going to put this out on? You know which platforms work for you best. I'm not going to sit here and get into social media because it changes every day, but you know there is a consistent approach. Different platforms require different things, and a part of that normally comes into your aspect ratio. So if you don't know about aspect ratio, you need to go learn that first. But traditionally a square or a 4x5 helps in particular. The ability to focus on details and specific parts of your product obviously has a big help. What I will say to you is make sure that you have some kind of zoom feature on your photos. This is normally to do with the software in which you use your e-commerce, but the ability to zoom in is particularly good. If you don't have that, then quite literally just do that for them. Don't zoom in, okay? Literally take a step forward, take a closer shot, get that detail shot, and add it to your shot list. The other thing I would say is try and shoot from a consistent angle, okay? People's perspective, their point of view makes a big difference on this. So be consistent. If you know that you always want to have deadpan, straight on, keep it simple, do it that way, fine. Do it that way. Have all of your points of view the same way, okay? If you know that you want to do overhead because you like flat lays, that's fine. Do that. But do it consistently. So there are decisions that you have to make before you even think about picking up a camera and doing anything, because knowing exactly what you're going to do not only saves you time because you don't have to think about it as much when you're actually shooting, but it gives you an aspect of a routine, so it becomes easier and quicker to do these things. Tip number 2. Styling your clothes, okay? Choosing a consistent way to style this, whether it's going to be on a hanger, whether you're going to do it flat lay, whether you're going to use a model to make sure that you do it that way. Have a consistent way of styling your clothes, okay? Again, you want to think of it as like a checklist. There are a few tips that I can give you in terms of if you don't want it to be dead flat, that's fine. Stuff your clothes, quite literally some tissue paper, some bubble wrap. There are ways that just lets you bring the fabric up and give it a bit more dimensions, gives it a bit more texture, allows you to play with those shadows, makes all the difference, okay? And hell, even fishing lines, okay? Handbags in particular with your handles, just a bit of fishing line so that it holds the handle up. These are things that you can do in order to help things across, okay? People always think, especially when it comes to these things, that you need to majorly stress and make sure everything's pressed and everything. You've probably watched 3 of these already, and they've all told you, make sure you iron your clothes, make sure you do this. Personally, plug your straighteners in and don't stress, okay? If you can see a really obvious thing and you think, oh my god, that looks awful, that's fine. Simply take your straighteners, straighten out your lapels, straighten out your cuffs, straighten out the little bit that you need to make sure that it's easily done. It works a treat, especially if you keep it a little bit of water spray so you can keep it nice and moist so that you're not damaging anything. Absolutely perfect. But the other thing I will say to you is don't be afraid to smooth out the occasional wrinkle, especially in edit, because it's not that difficult. It's fairly simple to do, and people expect certain materials to have an aspect of reality. If it easily crinkles, then shouldn't you kind of tell them that? You know what I mean? Number 3, get your lighting sorted, okay? I don't believe that harsh shadows, harsh lighting works particularly well in this scenario unless you're looking for that particularly summery, outdoor, active lifestyle shot. Then I don't think harsh shadows particularly work on a product shot. I think it can look particularly distracting, and therefore I'd say keep your shadows soft. Have nice soft lighting. That does not mean flat. That does not mean eliminate all shadows. It means keep it simple. Add that little bit of texture, but don't stress too much about this. Fourthly, I would say make sure that you're doing consistent editing. Editing is the biggest thing that I see to people's downfalls. If they've had inappropriate white balance, they've decided to go off on some kind of tangent to make it a creative edit, which always mind boggles me. You'll have an increase on returns and refund requests, okay? Just don't do it. It's not worth it, okay? Keep your edits subtle. Should you edit? Yes. Should you edit sensibly? Yes. Okay. Just keep it really, really simple. You don't want to be making the same mistakes that others have. And finally, and the thing that I would say is going to be most beneficial to you is how do you choose what kind of shot to do based on the garment that you have. So I wanted to run through a couple of ideas with you guys to kind of give you a starting point. And if you want the full breakdown of my beautiful sheet, then obviously check that in the description below, because I honestly feel that this was probably one of the most useful things I ever did. Was when I sat down, I kind of went, right, this is the item I'm photographing, these are the ways in which I should do it, because it'll be most easy. Statistically, if you are photographing something like a coat or a jacket, then I wholeheartedly recommend that you do this by hanger or model, okay? Don't stress about the others. It's incredibly difficult to kind of get your head around it and do those kind of things. Sweaters, again, you could do model or hanger, but actually my preference for sweaters is actually flat lay, and I find that the most effective in terms of getting viewers to engage with it. Shirts, I would say ghost or model, because it's really important that you kind of see they kind of see how it fills out. The biggest problem you have with shirts in particular is that there is an aspect of obviously width dimension for the side of your body, and therefore if you lie it down flat, you kind of get a distortion of, because it's wider than it will be, basically, because that's that extra width is actually the depth of the human body. Okay, so either tuck them in if you're going to do a flat lay, so that it gives the impression that it's actually a bit more fitted, because it is more fitted and people can get obviously deceptive by that, or simply just have a model or ghost mannequin in order to be able to show how it will fit. Dresses and skirts, again, can be particularly difficult because there are larger items and you want to see flow. The whole point of dresses and skirts is to see them flow. So again, I would do model or ghost, simply so that you avoid any distraction. Jeans and trousers, I would do either flat lay and have them folded. I would do them as a model, or if you can venture out and be a bit more experimental, then I would go for ghost mannequin. Shorts particularly work well either on a hanger or flat, especially if you use the tissue paper or bubble wrap to enable them to have that dimension so that you don't get the loss of the fabric. Socks, just do as a flat lay. You can put them on a model, but and hats, finally, again, I think it needs to be modelled or ghosted because of the 3D element and the roundness of things. I think it makes things a lot easier. If I've missed out on an item, I would love to know, because in the comments below, because I will give you the answer, because I don't believe in holding out. And finally, a couple of tips for your outfit of the day. So if you're looking for a hacker there, then I wholeheartedly recommend that you go for a lower angle. There's quite a few examples out at the moment about putting things pretty much at an angle from the floor. Do your angles on a sideward to create triangles, because it will make it more engaging and more inviting to the viewer. And try not to stress. At the end of the day, angles can be your best friend. Experiment with different angles based on the model that you have, because humans come in every shape and size and you're all beautiful for it. And I can promise you there is an angle out there that will suit you. If you want to learn more about how to take a decent shot of yourself, then check out this next video.